My guest today is Mark S. Doss, bass baritone. He is playing the role of Amonasro in Aida. Mark, welcome. Good to have you here.
Good to be here. Thank you.
You were here a number of years ago. Last, was it Rusalka?
Actually, just after that, in 1998, I did Friar Lawrence in Romeo and Juliet.
In the Romeo and Juliet, right, right. So it's been a while. It's good to have you back. Welcome back. You've been doing a lot of singing in Europe, I notice, on Opera Base, which is where we usually go to find out where you guys are, doing a lot of singing in Italy. Right. Has that been good for you and exciting?
Well, yeah, it's always exciting. Italy, I started out there for the most part in Busseto, Italy, Verdi's, sometimes hometown, he called it. Yeah, I debuted in Verdi Opera, and it's been since then sort of a slower progression sometimes. Getting to La Scala, I think it was 2004, but before that, Teatro Regio di Torino, where I was just there a little bit before, doing a couple of operas, Dutchman.
And one of my favorite cities, Napoli.
Napoli.
Rather recently.
Well, actually, that may be a slight mistake. I think they're doing a Dutchman there, L'Olandese Volante, as they call it, and somehow my name got included. It was one of those situations, even in Bologna, which I just left doing the Dutchman. I saw my name on the website, and I wasn't contracted to do it. So
well, it's Italy.
Yeah, I had to call my agent and say, am I contracted? She said, no, I haven't heard anything. There had been an inquiry, and she said, no, he's thinking about it, or they were thinking about it. So when they finally decided, it was after. So she called him up and said, well, is he doing it or not? And they said, well, yes, we'd like to have him. So the next thing I knew, I was on my way to Bologna. Now, there's a difficulty in the one in Napoli, because they did ask. It was a request to whether I would be available. And I said, well, I can't do it because I'm doing Amonasro and Aida in San Diego. So some of the times overlap each other.
It's Napoli. Come on.
Exactly.
I understand that city very, very well.
Right.
Well, it's exciting to have you here. You're a Verdi baritone. Amonasro, is this a favorite role of yours?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say sometimes Verdi baritone because I've sung so many of the bass roles, and it's one that extends itself nicely from the bass register into the sort of the baritone registers. You have some of the darker colors, some of the dramatic baritone sort of flavoring. My favorites were probably George London. I have that recording, and then you have Robert Merrill, Cornell McNeil, Ettore Bastianini. So those are the guys that I sort of emulate. Bastianini was a bass at one time, so that voice just naturally went up into that upper register. So I identify with them. The Verdi, my La Scala debut at Verdi was with Amonasro. That was 3 or 4 years ago now, and so that sounds very poignant. I mean, Verdi even considered the La Scala, to be the debut. The Cairo was for him.
Yeah.
Too many of the critics, too many of the people that were there, not the public.
Kind of a tryout.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So it was very very poignant for me. Barenboim conducting, and but then went on to Vienna to do it, as well as Covent Garden had been a little bit before that. So that's the big three for me, and I debuted in 1998, probably the same time I was here. It was in Minnesota. Wasn't quite well for that first performance, but I still got a lot of applause. I think I like the way the drama was moving. The voice wasn't going, the drama was there, and so I can always add that. But other Verdi, they had asked me, and interesting, you're talking about Verdi baritone, I saw also some notes about Amonasro, certain sections in that third act trio or duet that are reminiscent of Iago and Otello. And so they had asked me in Minnesota if I would come and do that role, and I said, oh, geez, I don't know. I had a cover of Chicago Lyric to do Mephistopheles. It's just one of my favorite roles to do Mephistopheles. Sam Raimi was doing it. I thought, well, maybe I could get a couple performances. And they said, no, we can't give you performances. So I called back right away to Minnesota. Oh, it's gone. Oh, geez. So
you haven't done Iago?
I have not done Iago, but it fits very well in the voice, the aria and whatnot. So look forward to that sometime.
What a role.
It is.
What a role. Well, what is it about Amonasro that attracts you specifically? I mean, what about the music making that, first of all, that attracts you?
Oh, wow, geez, the music I heard for the first time in my life, first opera almost I heard, I was a supernumerary in Cleveland, Ohio, and on stage carrying somebody on whatever, not a cross, but something or other. And James Levine's in the pit, Cornell McNeil singing, Julia Cruz Romo was doing Aida, Mignon Dunn was doing Amneris.
Oh my gosh.
Gregory Hines was the Ramphis. So it was a cast of stars there, and So I mean, I'm just up there, and I listened to the corner of James McCracken singing, Celeste Aida, and I just remember being too close. And wow, I'm right there. I can almost touch him, And then I left, and I'm singing on the streets of Cleveland, So that was one of the last Met tours in Cleveland, I think, if not the last one. And so yeah, I mean, the music was already in the body a little bit. From there, I think Aida didn't come back to me until that Minnesota, debut, probably '98. But the music itself, it's Busseto. I studied with Carlo Bergonzi there. He was, big into the Verdi. He's one of the experts on the Verdi stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So doing actually, I debuted in Busseto with him, doing La Forza del Destino as in the bass role of Padre Guardiano. So that was, quite a thing. I think he had to cancel the first act or something, let his protege jump in. It was one of those things. But it was an incredible experience being with Bergonzi and just being Busseto and sort of studying, in those little rooms where they very composed Rigoletto and La Traviata, and I just rubbed myself up against the furniture, so I feel it. Yeah, it's going in here. Okay.
Yeah.
So that sense of bringing the music was really much there.
Well, and some of the musical phrases that Amonasro has given, I think, particularly when he first appears in the triumphal scene, that's some of the most gorgeous music in the opera. It's just beautiful.
The trumpets sort of ringing out there. The Sortita d'Amonasro sort of is his aria of sorts, arioso if you want to call it. But yeah, it's very poignant. I mean, the line going from drama, going from tone painting, it's got everything there. I mean, and it's pretty much the adrenaline has to be going bang. It's similar to the Escamillo, even Johanna in some ways of the roles that I've done. In that range where you just got to go. It's an Olympic sort of
well,
event.
except with Escamillo and Amonasro, you've got a little time to warm up, don't you? Yokanaan is a little closer to the opening of the show.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, it's a warm up as far as the being into the meat of it. I mean, people don't think of calling out all of a sudden from the cistern as being as poignant, but it certainly has to be warmed up for it. It has to project well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as I said, the drama is there, the softness is there, the mature tu signore possente.
Such a beautiful.
Yeah, and it has to be there just right in place. Otherwise, it's like I don't know. And it's an incredible experience being here with Daniele, the conductor. He's an amazing. He knows the Italian repertoire so well, and I'm really inspired by that.
Yeah. Well, we're really looking forward to it. I mean, have you seen the Zandra Rhodes production at all, or any of the
not
designs?
Only the little designs I've seen in pictures and whatnot. I mean, I did the Zeffirelli production in La Scala. I did this Robert Wilson I have on DVD production, which doesn't always go off so well because some people like Robert Wilson, some people really don't like him, so that can be a little bit of a problem. But I have a DVD on that one, and I don't know, the one I did in Vienna, I think, was Nicolas Reveles, I think. So it's a sort of Paris opera production, I think. But yeah, for the most part, those are the productions I'm used to. This is very colorful, extremely colorful, and the costume is not so heavy. It just come from a Dutchman with a huge, incredibly large coat. It was very heavy, and I was just perspiring like crazy. So it would be nice to have a little bit of, lightness.
Yes, exactly.
But the colors are very
color.
extreme.
Yeah,
so
which
nice.
would be fun. Well, Mark, welcome back. Great to have you, and we're all looking forward to your singing of Amonasro.
It's good to be here.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thanks.